Okay, let's get started here. Alrighty. So, share my screen. I've got some vibe coding tips today. I have a total of 35 different tips that's going to help make you a master vibe coder, hopefully. So, let's get to the first one. By the way, I built this whole slide presentation in Base44. I was going to do it to Google Slides, and I just hate Google Slides and PowerPoint. So, why not use the tool that we're talking about? Okay, so number one. If you guys keep seeing me look over here, it's because I'm reading your guys' chats. I'm trying to figure out. I've not done one of these through the actual YouTube platform. I normally use OBS for this, but I wanted to try and see if this one worked better. But anyways, so number one, picking the right AI model for the job. This is very, very important. So in Base44, as you know, we have a couple different AI models. So if you go down to the little gear icon right here, you can select your model. If you have not done this before, or this is a tip, but if you ever come back and you notice that your AI model has switched over to automatic, 9 times out of 10, Base44 updated something. So you might want to check the Discord and see what we did. So number one, picking your model. I always go to manual. I typically stick with Sonnet as for my main AI model. I use Opus 4.7 when I need to bring in like a brain surgeon, and that could be for like, okay, I'm trying to debug something and it doesn't want to fix the issue or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna need something that's gonna read, be more thorough and do some research versus just scan the code. So Opus 4.7, it does use more credits, so be very careful. I will burn through thousands of credits using this AI model, and I love it. And certain someone else does not. ChatGPT 5 is great. It's not as good as Opus 4.7. 4.7 is the best codex out there right now. You'll see fewer discrepancies in coding quality, less bugs. And if you watch the chat when it's doing its thing, you will notice that it is, it's going through deep thought. ChatGPT is pretty good. I typically like to use it for content, doing web copy, stuff like that, or helping with designs or something like that. Or if I need something that's smarter than Sonnet to fix a problem and I don't want to burn a bunch of credits using Opus, I'll jump into ChatGPT GPT 5.5. It is a great debugging AI. Okay, so let me close some of these tabs so I don't get lost. Feel free to ask questions in the chat when I'm done going through the presentations. I will go through them. All right, so as it says here, the why, not every model is good at the same thing. Use faster models for simple UI changes, stronger reasoning models for debugging, security database logic, and large app changes. So that's a very good one. So Sonnet, I like to do a lot of different audits inside of applications. So whether it's a code quality, so when the app is done, my process is, all right, we're gonna check the app for code quality issues. We're gonna check it for security issues, and we're gonna check it for accessibility and mobile display issues and desktop display issues. So I have audits on my website. You can go grab under the learning tab on my main menu. It's all for free. You can grab all of the prompts that I use right there. And you can customize and do whatever you want with them. But if I'm going to do an audit, all right, I'm going to do my code quality audit. I'm going to use Sonnet because Sonnet is it's just going to go scan the code base. So it's not going to use any deep reasoning or anything like that. It's just going to check for coding issues, and then it's going to generate a report, and then I'll apply Opus to go and fix those issues because I want that reasoning that Opus has. All right, so number 2, add custom AI instructions. This is extremely important. If you ever notice while you are building an application and you are changing things that you are trying to change a button, and then all of a sudden something somewhere else was changed and you didn't tell it to do that. That happens all the time. That is not considered a AI hallucination. It's just AI going rogue on you. So I have, if you go to resources, spell it right, resources.base44.app. We built this thing a while ago. We just recently updated to make sure that the new AI model is on here. So this is this little resource. You can come here and see, if there's any issues with any of the AI models that we're using, what AI models to use and what not to. But more importantly, right here, custom instructions. So what this does, this is what I use for everything. It's making sure that it is not deleting anything. It cannot delete or edit anything that you did not already give it permission to. So if it's trying to fix a problem and realizes that the issue isn't on this function, it's on something else, well, then it's going to ask you for permission to go and edit that file. That will prevent the AI from making weird changes all over your app and breaking things. That way you are not chasing AI all over the place. Okay, so let's see here. UI design. It's going to make sure that you're as you're creating new pages, that it's going to keep those pages within the same design guidelines that you created the other ones with. It's also going to make sure that it's doing its best job, at least for accessibility, different logic rules, code rules. I mean, it's got everything that you would want in here. So what I always do. You drop your first prompt, go to the gear icon, AI controls, slap that right there, and hit save. All right. So also another trick, most people don't use it. I personally don't ever use this part because you don't need it with the custom instructions. But you can lock down pages so that it can't be touched. It's a little bit more extreme, but you can. But what's really, really cool about that prompt, that custom AI instruction, is that when you throw a prompt in here telling it to do something, if it does not have a super clear understanding of exactly what you are trying to achieve, what is that expected outcome, it's going to start asking you questions, which is really, really important. It cannot just go and just blindly do things. If it doesn't understand, it needs to follow up with questions. You will notice, and this is the downfall of this prompt, is that because of you having to respond to it, okay, giving it permission, clarifying direction and stuff like that, you will notice that you are going to burn a little bit more credits. But if you're chasing problems all over your site, you're probably actually not going to spend more credits on it. So custom AI instructions. Now, Base44 performs better when it understands your app rules, coding style, security expectations, naming conventions, and how you want changes made. So make sure you use that. Start in discussion mode before building. So this is a lot of people. I don't understand why not. A lot of people don't use this, but this will save you so much time. It will save you so much credits. Turn on your discussion mode right here. This uses not even 1 credit. And then have a plan. You can tell, okay, I want to be able to scan the application. Why is this problem? Why are we having this problem, or whatever? I'm thinking about building a new page that's going to do X, Y, and Z. Let's talk about how to structure it. What are your thoughts on how we should structure that page? Start it here. Work through what you want. Once it has a good understanding, then turn off discussion mode and tell it to make it happen. So discussion mode is very important. This lets the AI understand your goal before touching the app. It reduces bad assumptions, broken logic, and wasted credits. That should be the title for this. Don't waste credits. We're gonna make some t-shirts. Number 4, tell Base44 to scan the app first. So if you notice on any of my prompts that I have on the website, I'll just show you one just so you can see. I tell when I'm going to okay, the app's built, I want to build in a, oops, wrong one. I want to build in an admin panel, and I always recommend build the admin panel last. And here's the CRM one. That's the one that we probably, what is this one? So when you're wanting it to add a functionality, or building out new systems, so okay, I got my blog system built. Now I want to do my email marketing system. Have the AI scan the entire app so it has a clear understanding of how to integrate it. That way, it's not blindly integrating something and breaking things. So I have that with every single prompt that we have on here. Make sure that before any changes, scan the full app so you understand the current pages, components, layouts, navigations, off flow, user, blah 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 blah. This is very important, because if you just blindly create me a blog posting system, it'll go do it, but most likely it's probably going to break something in the process. Number 5, use phase prompts. So this is huge. I love doing this. When I first started doing this, I would just create these massive things. So you see it here. This one's, so I mean, this is a lot, and I have ones that are worse than this. So you can drop the prompt, a big prompt like this, into the AI, and tell it to create a phase plan so that we can build this in phases. And I will tell you to begin one phase at a time, and then it'll spit out a report of, okay, here's each phase and what we're going to accomplish. I always do it that way, and then you'll see if, like, if we were actually building an app, you would see the queue be filled up. You can have 7 prompts preloaded in the queue. But yeah, this is the best way to do it. Yeah. So the issue here is, if you just go and take a big old prompt, drop it, and it starts going building it, it'll start off doing pretty good, and then towards the middle and the end, you'll start seeing that it did not complete things. Buttons aren't working. Things like that, or it just did not create a page. So you want to make sure that you create phased plans, so that way it's a cleaner build, less errors, and you're going to get a better product that way. Be specific about what you should not change. So that's also very important. So, this box is to be utilized to its fullest. All right. I want this icon to be changed blue. So, you got your edit thing here. You can click on it. You can use this. I learned the other day from our trusty moderator, Charles, that if you click over here, it does the exact same thing. So I can attach images and stuff like that, but be very specific. Do X, Y, and Z. Don't do X, Y, and Z. So don't just think that, okay, I want you to do this, and it's going to just go and do that. The custom AI instructions should prevent it from happening. But if you can give it more context about what you are trying to achieve, and so, like, good example would be, I want the border on my newsletter pop up. I want to change that color. Okay, the top bar border only. Do not apply. Don't touch the right, left, or bottom border. Don't add any extra padding, stuff like that. So it's the more specific we are, the more the better the results that you're going to get out of the AI. So don't be afraid to give it more detail than useful. It's not one of those situations where, like, I have a bunch of kids and they come and tell me something. They tell us a long story. I always tell them, can we tell the short story? Let's get to the problem. Tell this, in this case, tell the long story. All right. Describe the user flow, not just the feature. Saying build a support system is weaker than explaining how users submit support tickets, how admins reply, who gets notified, and what happens after each action. So I actually just built a support system. Well, not just, but we did build one. So we'll give you a little example here. So the prompt's going to be create a customer support ticket system. Users on the front end are able to submit support tickets by filling out a form and selecting a drop-down menu to categorize their support ticket, so that we know how to route the support ticket in the back end for different teams or different priority levels and stuff like that. And then I create a dedicated admin page for receiving the support tickets that you can click and engage with, create reply back and forth with the clients. I'm not going to open up a real one. That'd be bad. Reply back and forth with the customers, mark, you can reopen, delete it, close it, mark resolve, change categories, all that good stuff. If you were just to say, create me a support ticket system, they'll probably create the form. You might even get the back end system to actually list the support tickets that come in, but 9 times out of 10, the ability to click and have a pop-up open up so you can engage with it never happens. So like I said, tell the long story. You explain every step of what the system is going to be. So if you're trying to do a blog or a social media management tool or whatever, just every step, like you're trying to walk a blind person through the process of building it. Define roles and permissions clearly. Base44 apps can become unsafe fast if customers and admin staff and owners are not separated properly. So let's say we're building a multi-tenant software. What I want to do typically is tell it, okay, we're building this multi-tenant system. Each user has its own unique organization ID that defines its roles and permissions for other users inside of that org ID. That way everybody under the umbrella of that org ID is now, all of the roles and permissions are applied to them, and then they can go in and change stuff. So, and real quick tip on this. So my work process when I'm building apps, you do your normal stuff. Okay. This is an admin only page, or only paid users can access this, or only authorized, authenticated users can access this. That stuff is very typical. But when it comes down to the security side of things, again, another free prompt right here. This right here will fix 99% of every issue. So this prompt here not only checks for role level security, but it does cured permissions, and back end, front end sections. It handles everything, and I'm pretty sure I updated, because this one I did have set where it automatically fixes it. It should generate the plan, and then you have to prove. Yep, so it's going to generate, and I do warn you, this thing generates a long list. So if you got a lot of issues, if you got multiple pages, 20 plus pages, 20 plus functions, you could be sitting there waiting 30 minutes for it to generate that report. So just be warned on that. Oh, so yeah, run this after the app is built. So before you go and push it live and start onboarding real users, run this prompt and then let it fix all the issues, then publish it. And then every time that you go back into the application and you are making changes before you publish it, run that scan again. That way it's locking down all of the security issues with the app, because we don't know what all it changed. Number 9, always include security requirements. Do not assume the AI will secure your app by default. Ask for roles checks, role level protections, backend validations, and hinted internal data. So this has been a conversation for a while now online about AI code not being secure, and it's not a platform issue. So it's not like a Base44 problem or Lovable. It is how, and it's really not even the AI's fault at it. Is the AI is going to do exactly what you instruct it to do. So if you say, go create me a contact form where users can submit a form and send me an email, it's going to go do that. But you know what else it's going to do? Your send mail function is going to be exposed, and potential spam bots are going to find the thing and then upload their contact list to it and their message, and use your send mail function as their personal spam mail server. So when we're building certain things like that, we need to think about the security parameters around this. So build me a contact page with a contact form where users can submit contact. The doggies wanted to be a part of the live contact forms to my email address. Ensure that the send mail function is a back-end function. That way it is not exposed. So you need to think about those kind of things. But again, using that prompt that I showed you earlier, that will solve any issues with it. So if you want to be super paranoid and prompt away, then I'm all for that. I do the exact same thing. If not, you can always just run that prompt, and it will cover everything and even give you that report. Ask for database planning before building. Good apps start with clean data models. Bad entities create problems later with permissions, dashboards, filters, and reporting and automation. So when we're planning out our apps, most people, okay, I want this page and this page and this page needs this functions, blah, 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 go down the list. Well, now we also need to think about how is data being stored? How is our database entities being structured? So it's a tip. It's not necessarily something that everyone needs to do. AI is pretty good at structuring the databases and making sure it's clean, but you can always have it cleaned up. I'm going to change my name to, I have a prompt for that, but I literally have a prompt for this. It's one of these. Maybe I didn't put it up here. Maybe it's on Reddit. It's not here yet. It's probably living on Reddit right now, but I will move it over here today. But I have a prompt that you just drop it in there. It's going to scan the database. It's going to give you a list of recommendations like, okay, we can, change data into these like this, or delete this one. So we don't need it, or, all that good stuff. So I have a prompt that you can use for that as well. Number 11. Have an AI explain its plan before implementation. This is going back to that discussion mode. Tell me, okay, this is my idea. Here's my prompt. So, if we wanted to create a complete onboarding and retention system. So whether it's this prompt or one that you built, tell it beforehand. How would you build this? Give me the plan. That way, you have more control over what it's doing versus just going out there and building it. So throw it in discussion mode, give it your idea, have a conversation with it, and then when you're comfortable with what it's going to do, let it rip. Use page-specific prompts. Improve the whole app is too broad. Working page by page gives cleaner UI, fewer bugs, and better control. So a good example of this, and I know for a fact this is on Reddit, so let me go grab it. Let me do this instead. I'm not going through all that. So this prompt here will rewrite all your web copy. So I gave it a role. Here's you're going to act as my sales-focused web copywriter and messaging strategist. Your job is to blah 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 blah. So on here, where are you? I don't think I have an area in here, but so what I typically do when we're working on a page is if I wanted to rework the ER service on this page, be specific. I always like to use URL. That way it knows exactly, if I were to say ER service, it may get confused. Hopefully it asks the questions and hopefully it doesn't break anything. So be extremely exact. And then underneath that, paste your prompt and then it'll go and do it. So, the other slide, be as specific as possible. Yeah, especially when you're working on like UI, tell the exact location. On this page, change the header logo out with this kind of deal. All right. Number 13, keep prompts outcome focused. Tell the AI what success looks like. For example, the admin should be able to view, filter, assign, and reply to tickets without leaving the dashboard. So we have when we're working with AI, giving it a role, giving it expected outcomes and what is not acceptable. That's very, very important, especially when we're building these systems. So if we're working on, I need to change out the H1 on this page. We don't have to be crazy with that because we're saying swap out the H1 tag with this text. So it's going to know the expected outcome is this. We're swapping this out. So stuff like that is super easy. But when you're building systems like an admin dashboard, tell it exactly what you are expecting and what success looks like, what failure looks like. Use plain language for business logic. The AI needs to understand the real world workflow, not just the technical task. So if we're doing, so a good example would be I'm working on a system right now that works with those premium prompts that I have on my website around marketing. So right now if you, let's say you built a social media marketing platform that automatically creates the post, does hashtag research, schedules it, posts it, all that good stuff, and you have metrics. So now we want to integrate a AI agent that is going to work as our strategy, our social media strategist going forward. So it's going to consume all of the results, the metrics from it, likes, shares, comments, all that good stuff. And then it's going to tweak the campaign going forward to try to do tests to see how we can get better engagements, more conversions, more traffic, stuff like that. So where's it getting that information from? What's the workflow here? So we're going to go to Facebook. We're going to pull in the analytics from said posts, and we're going to tweak it. Okay, what's the steps that it needs to go through to complete its work? So logic is everything when you're working with AI agents. If it's doing something that you do not that you don't want, it's producing bad stuff. So one of the things that I did when I first became a moderator on Reddit is I built an app that would scan all of Base44 subreddit and pull in all of the posts and comments, and then run it through a system where, okay, this is a support issue, this is a user feedback, someone's sharing a success story or showcase or something like that. And then it would also grade, okay, is this a negative or a positive tone? So that way I can prioritize exactly how I'm moderating on Reddit. So the logic that I had to build to get it to do that was pretty crazy. So spend time with thinking of like, okay, what's the process that I would have to manually go through? How would I categorize that and build that logic into your AI agent? Number 15, ask for mobile and desktop behavior. Base44 may build something that looks good on desktop, but breaks on mobile unless you request both. If you're using Opus, this probably won't be a problem. It's really good about doing that. Sonnet, GPT will have this problem, but I also have a prompt on the website that you can go grab. It's for desktop and mobile. Make sure that it's optimized for both. I'm gonna start moving a little bit quicker through these things. So I want to get to all of them. Request empty states, loading states, and error states. These makes the apps feel more professional and client ready instead of half built. Ask the AI to reuse existing components. This keeps the app consistent and prevents duplicate buttons and cards and layout. This is very important for UI. So if especially on the credit usage. So if you got a call to action, a CTA section on a certain page that you also want on the other page, just tell it, copy that and put it on this page. So when you do that versus saying create me another CTA for whatever on this page, that the copying of code is it's going to burn less credits because it's doing two things. It's reading and then it's writing. So when you're telling it to create something, it has to think, which is going to use some of your credits. Then it's going to read, then it's going to write. So it's an extra step. Number 18, tell it to avoid duplicate systems. If your app already has users, tickets, notes, notifications, or admin pages, the AI should extend them instead of creating competing versions. Opus wouldn't have that problem. Use audit prompts regularly. After several build sessions, unused code, broken flows, duplicate files, and permissions gaps can pile up. So like I said, when you're done, run those couple of those prompts and you should be good. Run security audits. I already talked about that one. Kind of got ahead of ourselves. Ask for test cases. The AI should tell you how to test a feature as a customer and admin staff and unauthorized users. So I do have a prompt on the site for quality assurance where it will create anywhere between 5 to 20 different tests across your site, acting as different users and under different roles. So it's non-authenticated, authenticated users, staff, whatever roles you have, it's going to create a test for each one of those multiple times. And then it's going to spit out a report about, what worked, what didn't work, what broke, how we can improve things. That's all very, very important. And if you do this through Super Agent, it's amazing, but you're going to burn up some credits. So I would probably do that like towards the very end and do it once a month or something like that, because it can burn credits fast. Build admin tools early, and an app needs visibility. This one was supposed to be deleted. Build your admin app later, because once the app is built, tell it to scan the app, build me an admin panel that allows the admins to manage everything about the site. That way you're not having to, when you add new stuff, go back to it and tell it to tweak things. Add activity logs. Logs help you track who did what, when it happened, and where something broke. That one I love, because I have this, my favorite prompt that I have are two. So we'll go to our debugging here. Number one, here's our unused audit. Looks like we got, it did twice. Here's our pre-launch QA. Advanced error logging. This is my favorite one. So this thing does two things. One, it will ensure that every page that was created or is going to be created in the future is automatically having these advanced error logging systems apply to them. We're getting everything that's that you normally would see inside your console view, whether it's Google Console, whatever, your error log, but even back in errors, so the logs for function files and stuff like that. And then it's going to create a neat little, I'm not sure which one has it, a neat little icon that will appear down here. You click on it, and then it will show you all those errors. You just copy the errors, drop it into chat, and AI will go and fix it. So a little cheat for you guys there. I love it. I apply it on every single app I build, every client app. When people hire me to do reviews, that is the first prompt that goes in there. And what's great is that the error logging side of that thing, it's not triggered by admins only. So if you have users on there, they're visiting the website, whatever, they don't see it. But if an error gets triggered on through their session, then it's going to get logged inside there. So having people on it, it's going to help you make your app better. Use clear naming conventions. Clean names for pages, entities, fields, and functions to make future prompts more accurate. Not only that, but it makes it easier for you to understand where things are going. So, like even just in your URL naming. So let's just do, I want to go to one that goes deep. So we'll go here. So, I have services, prompt packages, and then the actual page name. So, be as structured as you can when you come to naming conventions. It's important because it's easier for you to navigate through, but also for users to navigate through, and also search engine optimization and all that good stuff. Do not let files get too large. Huge files become harder for AI to edit safely. Ask for it to split components and utilities and logics into smaller files. If you have a file that a function file that has 2,000 lines of code, that needs to be broken up. 2,000 is really at the limit of what I would allow my AI to create function files. And the reason why we want these things to be smaller is because not only when we're working on it, it's safer, less errors are going to come out of it, but also when the file is being called on by the user, the time lag between when it's called and when it ran will be a lot shorter. So smaller files are run almost instantly. The longer the code that's in that file, the longer it's going to take. So if you're working on a site and you're noticing that your page speed is horrible, that's exactly probably one of the main reasons, is that your files are just way too long. Ask for cleanup after building. AI often leaves behind unused imports, dead code, old logic, or duplicate components. So if you say disable this, 9 times out of 10, they probably went there and what we call comment out. It didn't delete the code; it just disabled it for the time being. There is an unused code audit prompt on the site you guys can go grab. Number 27, give the AI examples, screenshots, sample records, sample flows, samples. Yes, I screenshot everything. So when I'm building a website and I'm working on the UI, I typically build it inside of Figma. So before we had the Figma import, I would just take screenshots, or I would export it to XML and then convert it into JSON. That way I can give it to it and it immediately understands how to do it. So screenshots, anything that you can give it, like, okay, I want, for example, structure all my URLs like this. Any kind of examples that you can give it. That way it knows exactly what your expectations are. Scan, plan, build, test, report. Use this as your default workflow. It keeps Base44 from blindly changing the app and gives you the repeatable professional process. Yeah, this is exactly the process that I do, except for I would probably have scanned multiple times in here because I'm always checking. So every morning when I get up and I'm still working on an app, I always go and scan the app and to make sure that what we did the day before is clean and it's working. We don't want to build more problems onto other problems. Always make sure that you're working with a clean code base every time you work on it. Tell the AI your app's purpose. If the AI understands the business, it can make better choices around UX, data, automations, and reporting. This is especially true for Opus, because Opus has that deep reasoning and research side of it. So okay, I'm building a to-do list that's coming for my children and their chores. I want to make sure that the children know when their chores are expected to be done, what the reward for getting their chores are, all that good stuff. So tell who you're building it for, why you're building it, what problems are you solving. So if I'm building I'm building an SEO tool, all right, I'm building an SEO auditing tool that's going to take SEO audit issues that are found and turn them automatically into tasks so that people go from running scans to fixing problems faster. So that would tell it everything. Okay, what's the problem? Why are we building this app? Because of the time frame that it takes from taking all the issues in an SEO report and converting it into my Asana task management system. That's 8 hours of work or whatever. So give it some examples of why you're building it, who you're building it for, what problems do they have, and how this app is expected to solve them. Store important products details in AI memory. I love this. Long chats get compressed, saving key products details helps the AI keep context across futures. So if you guys ever worked with Claude, you know that you'll throw a prompt and randomly it'll just go, says something, hold on, I'm compressing this chat so we can keep working together, something silly like that. So Base44, it does that automatically. All AI does this most of the time. It's automatic. So what does this mean? So there's two types of memory inside of AI. There's long term and then there's short term. So as we are having this conversation with it, this is short term memory. And once we get to the point where we need to click the button to load more. So everything that's visible right here is inside of its short term. So if we're dropping some large prompts or having long conversations, the core pieces of the stuff that we're working on is going to go away, and AI is going to decide. So once pretty much from here down, it has a short term. So anything I talked about the day before or 3 days ago, it's gone. So how does the AI determine what gets stored in long-term memory? It makes a decision what was important in that conversation. So if I come in here and I drop a large prompt, so like let's say that I'm going to build a new app, and I've already got this big old long prompt ready to go. So go and like I'm going to create a new app. I would just say create me a landing page. That way I can get to the point where I can tell it to store. So hold on, let me back up here. So get it to create a landing page, then tell it, take this prompt, store it in your long-term memory as name that prompt so that you can reference it later and then submit it. That way, okay, when you run that prompt, if it messed up something, tell it to refer back to whatever you named that prompt to and check the application and see what we did, what we missed. Now that is such a power move. When I learned that, my app production, speed of developing apps went from days to hours. And I mean, it's crazy how fast once you do stuff like that. 31, review every AI change. Review every AI change before moving on. Small mistakes compound fast. Check issues early before building more features. So going back to that custom AI instruction that you can get off of resources.base44 app, that custom AI instructions will make it where when you tell it to do something, it's going to give you a report of what it changed and why. So, when I tell it to go make a significant change on a page, I read through exactly what it did, and then we start having a conversation about what it did wrong or what it did right. And that's important, having going into discuss mode, and having conversations about what it did right, what it did wrong. It's training the AI for you. So it's you need to have those conversations. If you're on a lower credit plan, maybe not, but the AI learns as you play with it. So the more you build, the smarter it gets. Use stronger models for debugging. We've already been over that one. Use Sonnet to do the scan and use Opus to fix the issue. Use cheaper or faster models for simple edits. You do not need your strongest model to change a button, text, or adjust spacing or anything like that. So yeah, like I said, Sonnet's my normal go-to for pretty much everything. When I'm just doing simple builds, simple changes and stuff like that. Opus is the brain surgeon. Gemini, we typically using to create graphics and UI elements. ChatGPT 5.5 is also amazing. I've been playing with it more and more. It seems like I would hope that they would eventually get rid of Gemini. Gemini should never be used for coding. If you really hate yourself and you want to break your app, go use Gemini. And if you ever experience like, okay, I told you to do X, Y, and Z, and it says it's done, you go check, and it did nothing. Guarantee that you were either using Gemini or you were on automatic, and automatic picked Gemini for the task. Yep, this is a good one. Ask for a summary after every major change. You need to know what changed, what files were touched, what logic was added, and what still needs testing. So if let's say that you hired somebody to come work on your app inside of Base44. You can build a function inside of Base44 that will send you an email report every morning at whatever time and tell you what was changed over the last 24 hours. So always make sure that you're understanding what's being changed and why inside your applications. Number 35, the last one, mindset. Think like a product owner, not just a prompt writer. Better apps come from clear workflows, user roles, business rules, edge cases, and success stories. You are. Yes, we're prompting. We're prompt coding. It's what the vibe coding world is. But I always make sure that you are mapping out what your product needs to look like before you even start building it. So if I'm going to build a house, I don't go buy a bunch of lumber and just start building the house. I design it. I come out and what is this going to look like? Well, how many rooms? All that good stuff. Plan out your application. That it will save you. It'll save you a headache. But yeah, that's all the tips. Let me see what kind of questions we got here. We got a few. We got one. How did you create your graphics? With this, I was probably Gemini. No, this was built completely in Opus. Over here, if you're asking about this guy in the vibe coding goat over here, this was used, I think, ChatGPT. This was a mix between using ChatGPT and Gemini, but I did it outside of Base44. I built it in the browser and on Gemini, and then our lovely moderator Lily turned it into a 4K video, 4K image for me and help with styles. But all of these cards, where are we? All of this stuff here was all Gemini. I'm probably going to be switching over to new graphics and using ChatGPT because ChatGPT creates, depending on what you're trying to get it done. If you're looking for something super professional looking, ChatGPT is probably going to be the better source. But if you're looking for, if you want something more gamey or vibe codey looking, then Gemini is pretty good. So this is all ChatGPT. Opus is also amazing at certain things. So all of the feature images for this was designed by Opus, and this is the best graphics I've ever gotten out of Opus, and I really like them. ChatGPT probably could have done it, no problem, but I just wanted to test it out. But what is the easiest way to transfer graphics into Base44? Press the plus button, hit the upload button right there, or you can add all your files right here, and you can select multiple. They don't have to be just one, and then you can assign it there. So I would just upload it right through your plus button here. If you got a lot of photos, dump it in here. I have not tested whether, and I'm pretty sure it can, where if you just drop it into like a Google Drive, a boatload of photos, and automatically port it in. And I would think, and if it can't do it automatically, I'm pretty sure you can prompt the AI to build a function that will do this for you. Where, all right, I'm gonna have folders inside of my Google Drive named after the pages, and these are the images per pages. Go grab my link. Well, here's my link, and go grab all the folders and files and put the images on the pages that are assigned to them. That's probably will be the easiest way to go if you have a lot of photos. Any other questions? Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you guys for coming and being a part of this today. I will have this turned into a video, and it will be posted on the YouTube, and it'll be chopped up and thrown out on TikTok, all that good stuff. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I think we have another event tomorrow, don't we? Helps if I spell it right. Yep. So we have a plan before you build session, and then on the 3rd we have I'm going to be teaching you guys some prompt engineering. And then Charles is going on the 4th. He's doing his on accessibility. Everybody should join that. And he's already got 69. I'm slacking. I need to promote these. Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys. You guys take care. And if you have any questions after this, you can find me on Discord and on Reddit, and also on my website. You can contact me directly through there. You guys take care and have a good day.